I had never believed in ghost stories, not really. I grew up in a coastal town where sailors loved to whisper about cursed waters and drowned souls, but I always brushed them off as old fishermen's tales. That was until I received the letter. The envelope arrived on a rainy evening, sealed in thick wax that looked decades old. It was addressed to me in handwriting I didn't recognize. Inside was a simple message: "The lighthouse at Blackwater Point has awakened. You are the only one left to tend to it." At first I laughed. I wasn't a lighthouse keeper, nor did I have any connection to the sea anymore. But something about the words gnawed at me. I couldn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I imagined a lonely tower standing against crashing waves, its lantern flickering with unnatural light. The next morning I packed my car and drove north along the desolate coast. Blackwater Point was a place my grandfather used to warn me about. He said no one went near it after dark, not since the last keeper vanished 50 years ago. Some said he drowned. Others whispered he still walked the cliffs, lantern in hand, guiding ships to their doom. By late afternoon, I arrived at the nearest village. It was small, almost forgotten, with weather-beaten houses and narrow streets. When I asked about the lighthouse, the locals grew silent. An old woman at the inn finally muttered, "If you go there, you won't come back the same. That light doesn't save ships anymore. It calls them." I wanted to ask more, but she turned her back on me. That evening, as the storm clouds rolled in, I set out on foot toward Blackwater Point. The path was overgrown, the wind howling through jagged cliffs. In the distance, I saw it, the lighthouse tall and skeletal, its lantern dark. But as I approached, a sudden flash lit the sky, not lightning, but the lantern itself glowing for a brief second before dying again. My heart pounded. Who lit it? The iron gate creaked as I pushed it open. The air smelled of salt and rot, thick with the scent of something long dead. The lighthouse door groaned when I forced it open. Inside, everything was coated in dust and seaweed, as if the ocean itself had tried to reclaim the place. On the table lay a journal. Its leather cover was cracked, the pages swollen with damp. The handwriting inside was frantic, uneven. "The light is not mine to control anymore. It burns when it wants, and when it burns they come." The words chilled me. My hands trembled as I turned another page, but it had been smeared with what looked like blood. A crash echoed from above the lantern room. Against my better judgment, I climbed the spiral staircase. Each step groaned beneath me. The higher I went, the colder the air became, until I could see my own breath. At the top, the lantern stood silent. Its glass cracked, its mechanisms rusted. Yet for a moment, I swore I saw a pale hand brush against it, vanishing as soon as I blinked. The storm outside roared. Lightning struck the ocean, illuminating shapes in the waves, not boats, but shadows, hundreds of them stretching skeletal arms toward the shore. Suddenly, the lantern blazed to life on its own. The room shook. The glass rattled, and from behind me I heard footsteps, slow, deliberate dragging. I turned, and there in the corner stood a man in a soaked keeper's uniform, his face pale, eyes hollow, seawater dripping from his mouth. He raised a lantern identical to the one above and whispered in a voice like crashing waves, "The sea is hungry tonight." I froze where I stood. The figure in the soaked uniform didn't move, didn't blink. Water dripped from his cap and pooled at his boots, but he left no footprints on the wooden floor. My instinct screamed at me to run, but my legs wouldn't obey. "The sea is hungry tonight," he whispered again, his hollow eyes fixed on me. Then, as quickly as a candle snuffed out, he vanished. The lantern above me flickered and died, plunging the room into darkness. My breath came in ragged gasps. I stumbled down the spiral stairs, each step echoing like a gunshot. But when I reached the ground floor, the door I had come through was gone. The wall was solid stone. Panic clawed at me. I tried every window, every crack, but the lighthouse had sealed itself shut. The only sound was the relentless pounding of waves outside, as if the ocean were laughing at me. I collapsed against the table, the journal still open. New words had appeared on the page, written in wet ink. "Don't fight the tide. It always takes what it wants." My hand shook as I slammed the book shut. Then I heard it, a low groan, deep and guttural, coming from beneath the floorboards. The wood trembled under my feet. Something was down there. Against my better judgment, I found a trapdoor hidden behind a pile of broken crates. It creaked open, revealing a narrow staircase descending into blackness. The smell of brine and rot wafted up, making me gag. Yet something compelled me to go down. The air grew colder with each step. My lantern barely pierced the shadows. The stairs ended in a flooded chamber, seawater up to my ankles, and there, at the far end, chains dangled from the ceiling, swaying though there was no wind. A whisper brushed against my ear. "Help us." I spun around, but no one was there. Then I saw them. Faces beneath the water, pale and bloated, staring up at me, with lifeless eyes. Dozens of them. Their mouths opened in unison, releasing a sound that wasn't a scream, but a dreadful bubbling chorus. The water surged, rising higher. Cold hands wrapped around my legs, pulling me down. I thrashed, kicked, clawed, but they were too many. Just when the water reached my chest, the lantern above flared to life again. In the light, the drowned faces vanished. I was alone, soaked and shivering. The chamber was empty. I stumbled back upstairs, heart pounding. But when I reached the main room, I wasn't alone. The keeper was there again, standing by the window, staring out at the storm. This time I could see his face clearly, skin gray, and cracked lips torn by salt eyes glowing faintly, like dying embers. He turned to me slowly. "You lit the lantern," he said, though I hadn't touched it. His voice rattled like stones dragged by waves. "Now they know you're here." Who I choked out. His grin was a grimace. The ones the sea didn't keep, the ones it spat back out. Before I could respond, the building shuddered violently. The glass windows shattered inward as icy spray flooded the room. I rushed to the stairs, but the water rose unnaturally fast, as if the ocean itself had forced its way inside. The keeper didn't move. He just lifted his lantern, its light flaring brighter and brighter until it blinded me. Through the glow, I saw shapes forming: sailors, fishermen, travelers, all half drowned, their bodies broken, but their eyes locked on me. They were everywhere. On the stairs, in the corners, crawling through the shattered windows. Their whispers filled my head. "Join us, join us, join us." I screamed, clutching my head, and the light exploded into darkness. When I opened my eyes, I was no longer in the lighthouse. I was standing at the edge of the cliff's, waves crashing far below. The lighthouse tower loomed behind me, its lantern glowing steadily, though I knew I had never lit it. I staggered back to the village, clothes torn, lungs burning. But when I arrived, everything was silent. The houses were empty. Doors swung open. Fires burned out in the hearths. Everyone was gone. On the inn's wall, carved deep into the wood, were the words, "The lighthouse always finds its keeper." I didn't understand then. Not until the following night, when I woke to the sound of waves crashing inside my room. My hands reeked of salt, and when I looked into the mirror, I was wearing the soaked uniform of a lighthouse keeper. The sea had chosen me. And now, when the storm rises, I climb the stairs of Blackwater Point, and I light the lantern. Not to guide ships, but to call them.